Greetings, traveler. I know it may be tempting not to heed warnings telling you to turn back now, but this one you might want to pay attention to if you're sensitive towards sexual content or foul language in a podcast. We will be swearing during this episode, and we will be talking about some not so PG 13 things. So, this is your one and only chance to turn back now. Please enjoy the show.
Okay, so what are we talking about this episode?
I thought you were figuring that out.
Do you want me to turn on my webcam?
There's no video, so.
Oh, okay.
If you would feel more safe, you can.
If you would like to turn on your webcam, yes, you can turn
I
on.
don't feel safe in your presence.
Understand.
That's fair.
Okay.
But what are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm just the technical guy. I don't know. You guys are supposed to figure out content.
Levi, did you have this week's?
I thought it was you. Didn't we agree that it was going to be you for this week?
Was it me?
Or was that the next one where Taryn comes in that you were supposed to do?
Dang. Wait. Hold on. I can figure this out. Wait. Just give me. We can
No,
talk
because
about.
I think Jordan was the one that Taryn was in. So yeah, this one was yours.
I'm the Terran Wrangler. Yeah.
Like, candy is like a thing. I think.
Candy.
That's
Yeah.
Are any of us like extensively involved in the production of Candy?
I hope so.
Candice?
Who's Candace?
From Phineas and Ferb?
Candy's nuts fit in your mouth.
All right, that's the cold open. Levi threw it, then I threw it again, and then he swung the bat.
Yeah.
All right. Who's doing the intro though?
I thought you were supposed to do the intro.
I did not write one. No, this is a serious question that will not be
We do need
included.
to make like an actual intro.
We need to make an actual intro.
What was that one that we came up with on the fly that we wrote down? It was like, welcome to the Nat One podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not going to want to hear what we're about to say. I'm Pertusit.
I'm Levi.
I'm Jordan.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hi guys. So you know what? I recently got a Netflix, which it's a crazy cool thing. Not many people have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally underground.
Yeah. But one thing I've missed about it is that I had to get rid of my Hulu for it because money.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a great show that is mostly on Hulu.
Yeah.
And then there's also It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is my number one sitcom of all time.
It's climbing up there for me. I very much enjoy it.
It's a very funny show. It surprised me they haven't done a D&D episode like Community did. Another sitcom. Did it do 1 or 2 D&D episodes? I forget.
They did 2 D&D episodes.
All I remember is the screenshot of the guy in Community who is blackface because he's a drow.
He's a drow.
That's right.
Yeah,
Drow face.
That episode is not available on streaming services for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Drow face. Which one was that? Was that Chevy Chase or was that?
It was not Chevy Chase. It was I can never remember his name. He plays Chang on Community.
Oh yeah.
He's actually a doctor in real life.
Yeah, he's a doctor and he's on the what is it?
Masked Singer. He's the host of Masked Singer.
Yeah.
It's that dude. Yeah, no, he was he was trying to cosplay as a drow and it did not go over well. Yeah, sitcoms.
Yeah, sitcoms, man.
We very much like sitcoms.
Oh, a bunch.
What to the calm?
Sat.
Kazoom type.
I've watched quite a few. There's like I went through, you know how when people go to college, they usually go through like spiritual or like intellectual reawakenings where they kind of find themselves.
You went through a television reawakening?
I started watching sitcoms. I started with The Office, like most people. Fan favorite. Have we all watched The Office to its completion?
I have
here?
not.
I have.
I have not.
Have you watched any of it, Levi?
No, I was heavily put off by it because my senior year of high school,
Bryson.
my very close friend watched all of it like 4 times to completion, and he wouldn't stop talking about how great and amazing and awesome it was and how it was the best sitcom on earth. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, our other common friend, Mr. NL, Not Northern Lion. I like him, but that was his initials, our friend's initials. He also loved The Office way too much for me to get into it.
On the trip that we went on during the summer, that was a very big conversation, which was very funny because his takes on The Office are hilarious. But it was all he talked about was The Office.
That's the thing with The Office. It's like a lot of other media, right? Like where someone watches that and that's like the only sitcom they watch, or that's like the best sitcom they watch, and then that's all they talk about. They're like, it is the best comedy, and then they don't watch any other sitcom.
I don't know. I do enjoy The Office, but I very much agree that it's very much a jumping off sitcom. And I think that it's important. It's like Friends. It's important to acknowledge the place that it has in sitcom history, but there are funnier things. Like there are still jokes that land, but then there are moments in there that did not age well.
Yeah, I feel like this is the coldest take imaginable, but like season 5 and 6, I think it is, towards the end there, where things slow down and there's a lot less hitters.
I think that's like 6 through 9. Like the last, everybody agrees that the first 2 seasons are trash and the last 2 seasons are trash. So just watch that sweet middle point.
3 to 5.
Oh, 3 to 5. I'm not gonna make a joke there.
What joke?
That's the best part. Now you can fill in the blank. It's like a Mad Libs. It's
or it's like a horror thriller.
But I think there's one sitcom that does not get talked about nearly enough, at least outside of our friend group. This one's on Netflix. I think you should leave with Tim Robinson.
Oh, yes.
Now, I know it's not an option for you all to leave, and you probably don't have Tim Robinson with you, but that's the name of the show.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Quite possibly one of the greatest. It's very, okay. For everyone listening, it's very Gen Z humor, I think. And
It
it's
is.
appeal.
My folks can't stand it. Whenever Taryn and I talk about it and like reference it, that we tried to watch an episode with them one time and they just did not get it.
Yeah, it's very Gen Z in its humor. So if you're like us and you were born between the years of I don't know, what is Gen Z? 19.
It's like 96.
It's weird. It changes. It's like 96 to 98.
It's like the last half of the 90s to like the first half of the 2000s, roughly, is Gen Z, I think. So if you're in that spectrum, you'll probably really like I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. It's really funny.
It's very funny.
So, context about the show, it's just like Tim Robinson is like an old SNL writer, and pretty much the whole show is just unconnected anthologies of like dumb ideas that he's had that didn't make it to the SNL cutting room floor.
Although some of them are connected, there is a shared universe for some of them.
There's a few. And it's just really dumb with amazing punchlines that don't make any sense, like the dang Garfield house.
It's what SNL wishes it was. It's like the best parts of old SNL without the questionable content.
Okay. I don't know if the people that listen to this are huge SNL fans. I don't want to offend y'all. But you know, nowadays a lot of people think SNL is kind of cringe, a lot of their bits.
It's swung back around a little bit. It's getting better.
Okay.
It is getting better.
But with most of the takes about SNL, I would say that I Think You Should Leave. Like SNL saw all the stuff that was being written and they were like, ew, get that funny out of here. I'm keeping this cringe. And then Tim Robinson was like, well, I'll take the funny if they're not going to use it. And he made a Netflix show.
You know what? I think I'm going to take the whole funny.
That's a reference. That's a reference.
That's a joke. That's a joke from the show. If you want to understand the joke, go watch the show.
It's required reading for this course.
It is. All of us have watched it multiple times. Some of us have watched it multiple times, and it has clouded our entire humor base.
Yeah. There's going to be times where we're going to say something that just sounds like a sentence, and we're going to start laughing about it.
If it's something completely deadpan that's out of context, it's probably from I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah. Since we have watched it so many times, and I apologize to listeners that haven't watched the show, but what are your guys' favorite bit from I Think You Should Leave?
Oh gosh.
I still to this day love the you know what? I think I'm gonna eat the whole thing. That was so good when I watched it for the first time.
There are many great bits from that. I love how subtle that one starts with like oh, thank you so much, Professor. Glad to have this dinner with you. We owe our careers to you. And he's just like, I should have got that. I should have ordered what you're having. Yeah.
I think the one that the one that I quote the most is definitely the Christmas printer. Are we even gonna get anything this year? Because I didn't ask for that.
Every time I'm at work and something wet gets on my pants, the first thing I think to myself is I look down and I go like, oh, do I have calico cut pants now? That's
You have to give.
you have to give.
You have to give.
You have to give. Fellas, it's relatable. You can go out there if you miss a little too hard and it comes back around. You know what I'm talking about.
Fun fact, Calico Cut Pants is actually a real website. It
real.
wasn't, and
It
then the show
is.
came out, and it's actually a real website that you can go visit.
And it links to a Patreon, and at the bottom it says you have to give.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually for a charity, which is pretty wholesome.
It's that's wonderful. I love that.
For those who don't want to watch the show but want to be in on a joke that's from the show, go to calicocutpants.com.
There you go. Yeah,
You have to give.
you have
You
to
have
give.
to
If you use
give.
the website, you have to give.
Yeah, that's the rule. Because if they don't, the whole website goes dark.
That's how they keep it going.
Yeah. It's just one guy living out of a rent-to-own space.
Guys, we can't just do the entire bit.
You're right. You're right.
This is copywritten.
Yeah, that's a great show.
It's a very good show.
I could kind of, but yeah, no one really talks about that, and I wonder why.
Oh.
Is it just the humor's too weird?
I don't know. I mean, it got a second season, so somebody other than us is watching it.
Yeah.
A lot of the humor is very like upfront dry humor that's
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
weird situation that you don't expect to happen in the real world, which I think boomers are like, what? That
Where's
wouldn't
the
happen
funny?
in real life.
It's very
That's stupid.
absurdist. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Gen Z and some millennials are like, get it? Because it wouldn't happen in real life.
Or it's too close to what would happen in real life sometimes.
Like the jib jab.
I don't know how to drive.
What? That show's pretty great. It's got the 2 seasons,
Mhm.
6 episodes each, and each episode is like no more than 20 minutes.
I
more or
think
less.
it's like 15.
Yeah. Which also makes me wonder because there's like a 2-year gap between the seasons, I think.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and now the bits are really funny, but did it actually take them 2 years to come up with 6 episodes of 15 minutes apiece?
That might have been the pandemic's fault.
That's true. I always forget that happened.
Yeah. Happening.
Happening, yeah.
Technically, yeah, it's still happening.
Definitely.
No, I'd blame a lot of stuff that like their production got halted because of Corona. So
Yeah. I know that-
Espuma.
the plague has ruined television. That's the
Yeah, that's the
media.
takeaway.
Media has been ruined by the plague.
Yeah. Then there's other sitcoms that I like how after like during like the big hit of COVID-19, there was a lot of sitcoms or a lot of casts that were getting together and doing the Zoom specials where they're
Mhm.
going like, hey guys, look, get it? It's happening right now. And then there were shows like It's Always Sunny and Curb Your Enthusiasm that were like, that was messed up. Anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of like that though, that there are some shows that kind of skipped over it, like it didn't happen in that universe.
Mhm.
Because I mean, we're already living it. I don't want it on my television because I'm
Yeah.
just so burnt out and tired from hearing about it. It's nice to
Mhm.
just escape and not have to hear about it.
I looked
For
into
sure.
it the other day to give myself some context. For those who don't know me, we haven't talked a lot about ourselves on this yet. I think. I mean, we're only on like the 3rd episode, but I am
Yeah.
in college. I'm a college student. I'm a college boy, and I'm
Mhm.
majoring in history. So I really like history. I really like history. And I was like, I've never thought about it. How long did the Black Plague last
Huh.
when it happened?
I feel like this is gonna make me anxious.
It lasted 4 years.
Oh God.
And we are in
Year 3.
year 3. This is the beginning of year 3. So if we're comparing it to the
Mhm.
most deadly plague in human history, then we are almost done. We are past halfway.
Oh.
I don't want to open up the whole can of worms with discussing such a hot button issue, but
Mhm.
things. There's a big surge right now, but things mostly seem to be on the upside. We got boosters, we got vaccines for a lot of places, so there's hope at least.
I'm just
Um,
never leaving my house again.
Yeah, that's fine for me. Content bubble. Remember that, guys?
Content, but yeah, we're gonna get a content
bubble.
house. Yep.
Where we can watch our favorite sitcoms.
Yes, that's all we do.
That's how we get the funny. We take it straight from them. We say, "Hey, give me your funny."
And that is what we do. That's where a lot of our humor comes from.
Yeah.
We're
Give me that.
They don't know that we're pointing finger guns at the TV screen, but they still give us the funny.
Oh boy.
I think I'm the only one out of our group that's watched Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Indeed, I haven't
Yes,
watched
but
it.
you've told me a lot about a lot of episodes.
Yeah, I've gotten some through osmosis.
It's funny. It's Larry David. He gets into so many weird situations.
I feel like it's very like structure-wise, it's very similar to It's Always Sunny. From what you've told me, I've never watched an episode, but from like
Yeah.
you watch it. I also have another friend here at college that also watches it.
Mm.
And just from the little bits that I picked up, it's very like situational bad person.
Yeah. So it's weird, like, and It's Always Sunny, you got the 5 cast of characters, and they almost always are all doing wrong, but you have one that you can root for because they're the lesser of evils.
Usually Charlie.
Yeah. In Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's all of them condensed into Larry David.
Oh my god.
Now they're not evil. Like Larry David's not evil like them. He just like does rude things, right? Like cut in front of somebody in a line and then say I should have the right of way. That's like the worst it gets. But it's still very cringe all the time.
Mhm.
Like you have to have a high cringe tolerance to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm because he'll do that where he'll be like, I am in the right. And if you'll sit there at home and you'll just be like, oh my gosh.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you'll be like, you're not, or you'll be like, give up. Stop fighting for this. You just wanted a spot in line. But it's a very funny show. Like some episodes really hit.
I'm trying to remember the one episode you told me about a long time ago that really stuck out to me. And I can't it had something to do with Larry David's like medical life.
Medical.
And some woman, but I can't remember what.
This is ringing a bell, but I also have no context for these little bits. I don't know what this is.
Unfortunately,
I don't know if it was like he had a hernia or something. But
there's a handful of episodes like that. There's one from a recent season, so spoilers, where I think it's the first episode of the newest season, where he walks into a glass door trying to exit a patio, and as such, a woman views him as incompetent and breaks up with him. It becomes a running joke where they're just like, when you see a man walk into a glass door like that, it changes your view of him. And I just can't see you as a romantic partner anymore.
As it should. Speaking as the only woman here, that is the criteria.
And that's why
That's
Levi and I are single. Yeah.
That's why they broke up with me.
It's all those glass doors I kept walking into.
Guys, I told you, you gotta stop.
It's so fun though. You don't know.
God dang.
But Jordan, what is your favorite sitcom of all time?
My favorite sitcom of all time. Okay. It's Always Sunny has come up in the ranks for me. It is definitely in my like top 3. My favorite sitcom of all times is How I Met Your Mother. I think that it's hilarious from beginning to end. Some people hate the last season. I actually enjoy the last season up until the very last episode. The very last episode, everybody that's seen the sitcom can agree, can crash and burn and die. But that's my happy show. That's the show that I watch whenever I'm sad or like whenever I'm just bored and want to turn my brain off. I got my parents to watch it recently. I made Taryn watch it last year, and I got my parents to start watching it. And we got through like most of the first season during Christmas break. And I'm very happy because I didn't think they would find it funny, but they do find it funny.
Now, Levi, what do you know about How I Met Your Mother? I don't know much.
I've seen clips of it. I know what the namesake of the show is, which is like, isn't it the entire show is supposed to be the main character, quote unquote, recounting to his kids how he met their mother?
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's the entire show is supposed to be like the build up to how he met his mother, their mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it's got okay, people are gonna hate me. People are gonna hate me in this podcast. I never remember names. I never remember names of actors for like anything. So I go off of description. But I know it has that guy who plays a straight man in it that is gay in real life.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes, Neil
Yeah.
Patrick Harris.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson.
And he's the only one I remember who's in it. That's it.
Well, that's he's the one that a lot of people remember because he's the one that has the most memes because Barney's kind of cringe. I love Barney, but Barney is kind of cringe.
Yeah, he's
Not
also
based. Cringe.
he's the only thing I know about that show. I know the same thing that Levi knows about the premise and about Neil Patrick Harris's character. But Jordan, why don't you recount for us what do you think? What was the gut bustiest moment from How I Met Your Mother? What had you rolling the most?
I'm trying to think of my favorite episode because there's so many. Because I have like a favorite from each season. The one that immediately springs to mind is the episode is called "The Best Burger in New York," where one of the characters, Marshall, whenever they originally moved to New York, the group moved to New York, he was out wandering and found like a hole in the wall burger joint and found the best burger in New York. And so for like 11 years, he's been searching for this one burger joint in New York. And they go through this whole saga of trying a bunch of different burger places until they finally find the place. Regis Philbin is in that episode for some reason. It's a very fun episode.
That does sound like fun. I'll have to watch that and add that to my repertoire of sitcoms.
I very much recommend it. That and the it's either the Flaming Beekeeper or the Burning Beekeeper is also very funny. And I think Martin Short is in that one and is the Burning Beekeeper. It's the same like 10 minutes plays out multiple times over the course of the episode from different perspectives. And so the whole night goes around. It's very funny. I highly recommend it.
What about you, Levi? What's your very favorite sitcom?
Ooh, okay. I don't watch a lot of television.
Mhm.
I don't watch a lot of television. I watch very few like shows.
Mhm.
My main thing that I like is I'm a big anime guy. I'm a weeb. But like I do a lot of gaming and I do a lot of watching seasonal anime, but I don't do a lot of shows. Recently I've been getting better about it. I've been watching more stuff. But I don't know because most of the sitcoms I've watched. First of all, like what do we define a sitcom as?
A funny show.
Just a comedy
It's
in
very
general?
well, it's very broad. I would say like anything, speaking as a film major, I would say anything formulaic that has like an ensemble cast, like formulaic usually falls within the range of 20 to 30 minutes. That kind of thing.
If that's the case, if that's what we're getting at, my favorite sitcom's probably Konosuba.
That would make sense. I would qualify Konosuba as a sitcom.
It's really funny, in my opinion. And I have a very small library to choose from in my sitcom range. I have that Modern Family because my family watched it a lot when I was younger. Obviously, It's Always Sunny because we watched that together. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't watch a lot of Big Bang Theory. My family watches a lot of Big Bang Theory.
I do enjoy Big Bang Theory.
I've watched a chunk of it.
I enjoy the ironic jokes that come out of it.
Yeah.
And I have seen a very slim, I wouldn't even call this enough to count as having watched the show, but I've seen a pickings of episodes of Seinfeld. I've seen the one that has it's been so long that I can't remember what the episode's called, but it's the one where they go to the post office and Kramer's like, I want out. I don't want to do mail anymore. And I forget the name of the character. It's the other guy though that he's like, you can't just quit doing mail. And then he's like, yeah, I can. They can just send everything to my PO box or something. And then he's like, look, Kramer. They got me here on the inside. I can't just let you get out of mail because if you get out of mail, then everyone's going to want out of mail. And then like the manager of the post office walks up behind him and he's like, is everything okay, employee? It's just really funny. That's a good bit. But it's like the only episode of Seinfeld I think I've ever seen all the way through. And it was so long ago. I think it was because like my uncle watched Seinfeld or something and maybe I was at his house. I don't know. But yeah, long story short, Konosuba. Fummy man gets killed in the other world.
The situation of that situational comedy is young sex offender goes to another planet, another world.
Let's call him an incel. That's a little bit more palatable.
True. If you go to the light novel, though, the first one is true.
Yeah.
But the light novel and the manga and the anime have some story differences.
To be fair, I feel like he is sufficiently punished for his crimes, though. I mean, there's no sufficient punishment for that, but like
He literally dies
he dies.
He
Well,
dies
twice.
trying to save someone.
No, he dies 3 times. Remember?
Oh yeah.
I watched it. I know this.
I believe the worst he did in the light novel was exactly what he does in the anime, which is steal someone's underwear.
Mhm.
So, he's not the worst guy ever.
And he routinely gets the crap kicked out of him. So
Yes.
That's the joke. That's why it's
dies.
funny.
although, okay, speaking of Big Bang Theory, though, I thought of something.
Mhm.
Can we talk about how Big Bang Theory and every episode they play D&D, they play it incorrectly?
I don't think I've ever seen a single episode.
I
they play
haven't
D&D
either.
in.
What have they done?
I have watched the entire series multiple times. So they played Dungeons and Dragons. Obviously, there's no like one correct way to play Dungeons and Dragons. They don't use the right dice, and they don't use the right dice, and they also don't. The DM rolls everything. The characters
Whoa.
don't roll anything. The DM rolls, and it depends on the episode how they play. Sometimes they do have the characters roll, and other times they have the DM roll. It's just very strange because they don't seem to be sticking to one specific system of D&D, but they always call it Dungeons and Dragons. So it's not like they're playing a different system with different rules and different dice, like Call of Cthulhu. It's just they always say they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but it's very formulaically incorrect from how a lot of people play Dungeons and Dragons.
That's like I feel like that's the curse of Dungeons and Dragons representation in media prior to like 2018, where they're like Dungeons and Dragons, where people sit around a table and roll dice, and that's all as much as anyone knows. And Big Bang Theory, some of it was funny, some of it was pretty cringe.
Bazinga.
Bazinga.
Bazinga was still fucking funny. You can't convince me otherwise.
Ironic.
It's funny to me because of irony. Yeah.
There's a good chunk of it where there's like moments where it's like they had an on-off switch for what they researched in that show, where it was like science information. Yeah, we bring you the most cutting edge science things so we can make a single science joke, but then sometimes it'd be like, math, the thing about science.
I forgot the rules to Catan. Like, yeah.
Where it's just like, and Dungeons and Dragons, I feel like got the off switch where they were like, yeah, just have the actors sit around the table and roll dice. I don't care. They didn't at all even instruct them on the basics of how it would work.
Yeah, no, they had no idea.
Then you got like Stranger Things, where they were like, guys, get it. It's OD&D. It's AD&D. Or whatever they played, probably.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, like, it would have made more sense if they specified, like, what edition they were playing, but it seemed to be somewhere in between, like, 4 and AD&D. And I'm like, what is this?
4 AD&D.
It's the Big Bang Theory edition of D&D. Every time, though, I hear or see Bazinga in the real world, I just think of that one, the laughing god from Brava Alf-Balsa's If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device.
Yeah.
Which is a sadly canceled internet web comic. Do you want to call it a web comic?
I would say a comic.
Web series.
Like a
web series that was really popular. It's about the Warhammer 40K universe, and it's the title. It's What If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device, so he could actually talk, because the Emperor is like a skeleton dude in that world. And one of the closest to last episodes has the god of like funny ha-has in it. He's the god of like humor and laughter and stuff. And he says Bazinga like every once in a while, but he says it with like this weird filter. So it's like Bazinga every time. It's so funny.
And there's like a whole bit in that, I believe, where someone instructs, they say, oh, the reason it's funny is because it's ironic. It's based. And that's why we think it's funny.
Yeah.
Not because the actual inherent comedic merit of the phrase Bazinga.
See, I just find Bazinga hilarious. I love Sheldon Cooper. I think I'm one of the few people that actually does like Sheldon Cooper.
Now here's the question, Jordan. This will determine whether you are based or cringe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch Young Sheldon?
My family did when it started. I have not watched it extensively since.
What
she's-
is Young Sheldon?
You don't know?
It's the spin-off.
It's a spin-off.
Bill
Is it what the
Ponderosa.
title is?
Yeah, Bill Ponderosa
Oh.
is Sheldon's dad in Young Sheldon. I can never remember the actor's name, but it's Bill Ponderosa from It's Always Sunny.
Wait, I gotta
Yeah.
look this up.
It follows the life of Sheldon Cooper as a youth, and it's been going for a bit now. I don't think it's over, is it?
No, it's not. It's still going. I think they've gotten to where like Sheldon moves into college at this point. It's narrated by Jim Parsons. They occasionally have members of the original cast come back and like do stuff with it.
I'll admit, I saw that coming out, and I was like, that seems awful and like a cash grab. So I didn't watch it, but if it's funny, it's funny, you know?
I don't know. I would have to go back and like watch it because we watched the first half of the first season whenever it came out, because it came out right after Big Bang Theory ended, or right as Big Bang Theory was ending.
It has 5 seasons,
Mhm.
and it came out in 2017.
That's a lot of seasons. That's one a year.
Yeah,
Some shows are lucky to get that.
Mhm.
so it must be successful enough.
Yeah, they wouldn't air it if it didn't get ratings, right?
I
That's
think
how
it's
TVs work.
I think it's still technically qualified as a sitcom, but I think it's not like a single cam sitcom or a multi-cam sitcom like Big Bang Theory was.
Yeah, no sets.
It's more of an actual show. Like, yeah.
I shouldn't say no sets because like everything's a set. But you know, you can move around. If you turn the camera around, you don't see the studio audience. You see
It's
the
more
wall.
it's more of a single cam. I got it mixed up. It's more of a single
Yeah.
cam sitcom than the multi-cam of Big Bang Theory and Friends and that kind of genre.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad we've moved away from those. I don't know if there's like a modern one that I like, but I know that my parents like to watch. What's that actor that played in the Santa Claus, but is like people kind of don't like him for his political takes?
Tim Allen.
Fine. Yeah. Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Because
He's-
I remember him because didn't he have that show that was like a hardware show way back in the
Mhm.
day? Yeah.
What, like
Yeah.
Home Improvement or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Home Improvement.
Yeah, well, he's got another one now where I think he's like a security guy. Like
Isn't
he
it like
does
Last
home
Man
security.
Standing or something?
No, maybe. But my
I gotta
parents
look
watch
this up
that.
now.
Yeah, my parents watch it and they think it's the funniest thing ever, and I'll watch it, and it's the multicam, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm watching Disney Channel. Does Disney Channel still do like multicam sitcoms for kids?
They do, and I was correct. It is Last Man Standing.
Ah, cool.
I know my movies and my television.
I would hope you do.
I'm an encyclopedia.
What? All right. Now, did you guys watch those old Disney sitcoms?
Oh
Yes.
yes,
When
I
you were
was
younger?
a Disney kid. I was a big Disney
Yes.
kid.
Unfortunately, I
Oh.
did. Yes.
Longer than I care to admit, honestly.
Earlier
True.
ones were better.
Earlier
Sweet
ones
Life.
were good.
As
Sweet
is the
Life.
case with
Sweet Life
most
was
stuff.
Sweet Life was great.
Earlier ones were much better. Sweet Life was great. Sweet Life on Deck was pretty good too.
I liked it.
Sweet
I
Life on
liked
Deck
it.
did maintain, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what was it called? Like Ant Farm?
Yeah, I hated that.
Ant Farm had potential. I watched Ant Farm, but they didn't no.
No. Jesse, I think, was another one that I think had potential.
I did watch
Had
Jesse.
potential.
For an embarrassingly long time, I watched
Yeah.
Jesse, but mostly because I can never remember his name. The butler is I know
Bertram.
actors from what they've been in, not their names. The
Yeah.
butler is a Broadway actor. He
Yeah.
was Horton
Yeah.
in Seussical, and he was also Uncle Fester in the original Broadway cast of the Addams Family
Mhm.
musical.
He definitely had that stage presence. You could tell
Mhm.
when he was
Mhm.
on screen. I
His
watched a
name-
bit of it.
His name was Bertrand.
Yes,
So, Bertram.
I think his
Bertrand.
it's Bertrand, and his actual name is like Kevin Chamberlain. I think.
Oh my God.
Sounds like royalty. He deserves it.
I'm
Here's your
gonna
crown,
look
king.
that up too. I'm gonna look.
King of child sitcoms.
Let's see. Now, Nickelodeon has also had their fair share of amazing sitcoms. Again, early on, it feels like they were better. Drake
Mhm.
and Josh, iCarly,
iCarly.
Victorious.
That's because that was like the early days of the sitcoms where the idea was still fresh and new
Mhm.
and everything that came from it was like original. And now I think since we've gotten older, it's gotten to the point where a lot of them, not all of them, but a good amount of them are like, oh man, this thing was popular with the kids back in the day. Let's do it again.
Well, and that was also before people figured out that Dan Schneider was a pervert, and so
That's
every
true.
show on Nickelodeon was Dan Schneider.
Let's see. If I'm remembering like my sitcom history, which is this is more of a Jordan thing, but like there was a lot of like perfectionist family sitcoms up until
Mhm.
like the 90s, right? Where they were like, oh, sport, go get them. Oh, daughter's inside learning to cook. Yeah, very idealist American shows from like the 50s style.
Nuclear family.
And then like in the 90s, like mid 90s to 2000s, they were like, what if things were actually funny and realistic?
Well, and then you had the trend. This was Nickelodeon and Disney were really bad about this. And my parents hated this, was the dumb parent trope of
Yeah.
like
Oh my
the
God.
kids not respond. And honestly, I didn't like it very much either because I was just like, this isn't funny. Like they're stupid. Why is this funny?
Yeah.
That's why Good Luck Charlie was a very big thing in our house because the parents were funny, but they weren't stupid.
Mhm.
They like there was still the comedic value of the parents, but they were still the parents.
Yeah. I think the first ones to do that were the good ones. Like, this isn't really the sitcom, it's a cartoon, but isn't this cartoon just kind of like a sitcom but animated? Whatever, semantics. But Fairly Odd Parents, the parents from that, the dad was
my
always
God.
dumb. There's so many memes about him. He was really funny. But then it felt like any other one that did that after that was kind of chasing the glory.
Yeah.
Or
I was
repeating.
not allowed to watch Fairly Odd Parents.
I loved it.
I did not become a Cartoon Network kid until I was a Cartoon Network adult.
Let's see. When I was a kid, I watched everything. I didn't watch Disney.
I didn't have restrictions on channels I was allowed to watch. I just never watched anything other than Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel. Those were the three that I always watched.
Yeah.
Oh, I love PBS Kids though. The
I never
kids
touched
programming on PBS is S tier. It's
The only
it's
time I
amazing.
ever saw stuff from PBS was when I was at like the library.
When I was at my grandparents.
But it was like it was enjoyable. I liked it. I think it was part of the thing that I never knew what channel PBS was on cable because
Yeah.
every household that my grandparents, my family, we all have cable, all had cable. So I never knew what channel it was. So I could just never find it.
Mhm.
I had memorized the channels for Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was 37, Cartoon Network was 53, and Disney Channel was 55.
For Dish Network,
170 was the Disney Channel, wasn't it?
172 and 173.
Mm-hmm.
Nickelodeon was 171 and Nick West was 170. Nick Jr. was 169. Nice. Cartoon Network was 176 and 177. Boomerang was 175. They were all in the line.
See, I just knew that 170 was how you got to the chunk of kids programming.
Yeah.
So that's the one that I memorized because like that was the beginning of the kids block, and I was allowed to go up from there until it hit like Hallmark.
Yeah.
And then that was where I was allowed to operate, was that little section of kids programming.
I just remember that I would watch all that stuff, and then like when I turned like 10 to 11, I took my first big step. I was always watching like Chowder, Misadventures of Flapjack, and
Oh, love
Adventure
Flapjack.
Time.
Those were such good shows.
I still loved them. I still watched them. But then I was like, you know what? I gotta stop watching Dora. No. But I was like, I gotta stop. I gotta broaden my horizons. At this age, I was like, I gotta watch some real people shows. So I started going to Teen Nick. And I started watching Disney sitcoms.
Spicy.
And I watched it and I wouldn't laugh at some of them. And I would just be like, yes, I'm intelligent now.
This is
I get it.
sophistication.
That was the same era where I would go to a family gathering and I would just say, I would go to my nearest uncle or aunt and I would be like, politics. Like that's all I would say. And I would expect them to think I was intelligent and smart.
I did something the same where I at a certain point I decided that I had to stop watching cartoons, and then whenever I grew up I was like, wait, cartoons are lit, never mind.
Yeah.
But unfortunately Taryn and I are not that far apart in age difference, but we were far enough apart that like there was a certain time where we were very split in the age bracket of television shows. So by the time I was ready to move on and start watching like actual real people things like Pertuzit's talking about, Taryn was still watching Diego. So
Yo, go Diego, go went from that to went Da went.
What did you just say?
You heard him.
And don't even get me started on Dora the retiree.
Oh my God.
Taryn would not like me to share this with the internet, but I'm going to anyway. Taryn had Diego sheets and a Diego bedspread on his bed for longer than he would care to admit, and they are still somewhere in his closet.
Yo, wait,
wonderful.
are those like lame or something? Because I gotta change my sheets, I think. I'm 22 years old.
Yo, you still got the Dora sheet?
Every
No,
night, bro. Every night.
all the cool kids have Batman sheets. Looking at Taryn because Taryn also still has Batman sheets,
No offense to
which
TJ,
is actually
but
pretty cool. I can
TJ
get down
does.
with Batman sheets. I can get down with Batman sheets.
actually,
I-
I'm not sure what TJ has.
I don't think I've ever had like a themed sheet in my entire life. I've always just had a plain one color sheet.
No.
Taryn was more the cartoon sheets. I had like flowers, I think, at a certain point.
I had blankets.
Mhm.
I actually still have a couple. I have a giant quilt. You guys might have seen it actually at my house that has the Millennium Falcon on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I have the blanket that still is at my bed at my parents' house is a Pirates of the Caribbean blanket. It has a giant skull and crossbones on it with the Jack Sparrow bandana tied around the head.
Mhm.
So I have a couple things like that, but never sheets. I had mostly blankets for me.
I was more stuffed animals. I had a lot of stuffed animals, and I still do have stuffed animals on my bed.
No cap. I do have a sheet right now that is a thing. It's Yoshikage Kira pattern from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But it's cool because the ladies that I bring to my room all the time at my parents' house, it doesn't look like it's from a show. It just looks like a pattern. I hope.
Well, if they recognize what it is, then that's better, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a point in the right direction.
That's one of our new Gen Z memes where it's like, is that Yoshikage Kira style JoJo's Bizarre Adventure sheet and bed and accompanying pillow covers? And then I'll just go like, it might be, depends on your reaction. And then she goes like, oh my gosh, get on there now. Cringe. r/incel is going wild right now. Okay, we gotta end this up with some sitcom hot takes.
Mhm.
Right. Hot takes. Hot cakes?
Hot cakes. That'd be nice too.
Ooh, yes.
I had some this morning actually,
I
but
didn't.
Why did you not share?
I'm sorry. I didn't want to pay the stamp fee.
You were going to mail pancakes USPS.
I don't. I don't like that.
And this is how we introduce our sponsor, stamps.com. Just kidding.
No,
we're not sponsored. We're not sponsored.
Not yet.
We could be.
Stamps.com. Come on.
we have
We're not
to
sponsored.
we have to make sure people don't actually get confused. My bad. Stamps.org. There we go. That might be a phishing scheme. I don't know.
No, I don't.
Don't
We're not
do
sponsored. We are
We're
not
not
sponsored.
But no, hot takes. I don't want to be the first person to get thrown on a cross and crucified. So Levi, what's your hot take?
Hot takes about sitcoms?
Either about sitcoms at broad or like a specific sitcom you have hot takes about.
I wasn't given prep time. I don't
prep
know.
time.
I don't know. Hot take. It's Always Sunny isn't meant to be a show about characters you should revile and hate, but characters you should emulate.
I like that. I like that one a lot.
We already kind of do that. But
No, we do not. Do not tell the world that we emulate the It's Always Sunny character.
there's a
Those
different
people.
context.
We do it on a tabletop way.
We do. Does somebody want to
already kinda
explain that
are
whole
just
meme?
like them.
We only emulate them in the real way when the camera's off. No.
No, we do not emulate the It's Always Sunny characters. We have a running joke whenever, because we all watch It's Always, well, we used to always watch It's Always Sunny together when we were all together and not scattered across the state of Ohio.
College.
College.
We would compare, we have a D&D campaign that we have not started playing yet, that we will start playing in a year. So none of the characters have like concrete played out personalities yet. So we assigned everybody an It's Always Sunny character. And so every time we watch it, like my brother Taryn is D because his character is a bird. And so whenever D does something stupid, everybody looks at Taryn and just goes, bird.
It's not just because he's a bird, but also because Taryn would be the one to do something stupid, like D.
The resemblances are uncanny.
I'm the sociopath. I'm Dennis.
Mhm.
I hate Dennis so much in that show.
You got something to say, Levi?
For all intents and purposes, my character has become Mac.
And then TJ is Frank.
TJ is
The
Frank.
kobold.
And then we made our artificer Charlie because that's the obvious choice. He is very much an artificer.
Yeah, Charlie work.
Charlie work.
So that's your hot
that's,
take.
that's my hot take.
Jordan, what's your hot take about sitcoms?
Don't watch Friends, watch How I Met Your Mother instead.
Whoa, hey, you can't say that.
I can't, no, because it's the same formula, but How I Met Your Mother did it better. And I'm not biased, I'm just right.
Really, really hot take. That one's spicy.
Again, Friends, I treat Friends like I do The Office. It is important in sitcom history for where we are now with the comedic formula of sitcoms. It's not funny.
There is like the series of YouTube videos of Friends without the laugh track, and watching that is just kind of sad.
There are certain, again, like The Office, there are certain moments that are still funny and there are certain moments that are still iconic. However, overall, I'd say some of the characters in Friends are worse people than the people in It's Always Sunny.
I haven't actually watched Friends, so I don't know for sure. I've just heard names.
Well, because that's the thing, and It's Always Sunny, they own the fact and they know that they're horrible. It is a fully acknowledged and established fact that they're all horrible people. The people in Friends think they're the protagonists and that they should get their, it's like a Larry David situation. They think they're in the right.
What do you mean? I should be getting the lasagna for free because you offered to pay for the bill.
So yes, don't watch Friends, watch How I Met Your Mother. It's better.
Now I get to do a hot take. Ooh.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know if mine can be hotter than that. They're all bad. No.
Don't watch sitcoms.
It's like the comic, No More Mutants, but it's no more sitcoms. No. WandaVision.
Sitcom vision.
How did we do an entire sitcom episode without talking about WandaVision?
I know, right?
I haven't watched it.
That's right. Spoilers.
Rude.
Rude. If I have a sitcom hot take, honestly, okay, this one might ruffle some feathers. Friends, I know there's a lot of people that like Friends, and you just like got an angry mob outside your room, Jordan. I'm about to die. I'm about to get shot by the sniper that's trained on my head.
Oh yeah, I can see the little red dot right there.
So
Yeah,
no
that's
one
it.
told you life was gonna be this way.
I don't like Parks and Rec, and I don't think it's funny without Chris Pratt.
Get out.
I did not like it. I watched it completely right after The Office, so it's not like it was the umpteenth one I watched. It was the second sitcom I watched, and there were like 3 moments over the course of the whole show that made me laugh. And
see, I think that's the thing, though. I think it depends on which order you watch it, because I watched Parks and Rec before The Office, and I think Parks and Rec is funnier. But a lot of people that I've seen that watch The Office before Parks and Rec prefer The Office.
It wasn't even like I liked one or the other. I just watched it, and it got me mad every time. The thing with Parks and Rec that upset me so much, it's not like just an unbridled hatred. It was just as the show went on, they made, well, first off, all the characters got what they wanted, and there was a happy ending, which those always make me mad to begin with because they're cliched. That's why I like It's Always Sunny so much more. But first, yeah, they were all the protagonists, even though some of them were bad people in Parks and Rec, with the exception of the main character. And then the world around them was what made me the most upset. The town of Pawnee. We were to assume that they were all such dumb, idiotic people that they could not even let the most base good thing happen to them without a fight. And that started to get to me. It started to grind me where I was like, so this is just a fantasy world where everyone's stupid except the main characters, huh? There cannot be one smart, non-main character in the world. It got to me that their world was so upsetting. Made me mad more than happy or laughy. Bazinga. And so that's sitcoms.
That is sitcoms.
But you know,
Hit
sitcoms
songs.
they'd be more based if they were just D&D.
We should make a D&D sitcom. That's absolutely something that we should do.
that. That's
Yeah.
not something we've already tried to do. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, we'd probably be like the first people and the funniest people ever that did it.
I think it's a completely original idea, and we would be the best, and no one else would ever do one ever again after us.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
you know, it'd be such a creative name for that too, because it's like a D&D sitcom, because it's like it's funny and it's D&D. What if we called it Nat 1? Because like that's when the funny happens.
That's brilliant. Yeah, totally. Rest in peace to the original concept of Nat
And
1.
I think that's where we end the podcast. Is
I need to see a therapist.
You are a therapist.
Yeah.
Gonna be.
Gonna
You
be.
better be.
I bet I can't believe it's not therapy. And editing Jordan, do your
Editing
thing.
Jordan got here.
Hi, this is Jordan from Nat One Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to, and we hope that you come back for more soon. If you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and the different things that we do, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Castbox, and Anchor. We look forward to seeing you again soon. And hey, thanks.